And what's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is a Wednesday edition of the YSN Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you. Where did this banners go? I think I messed it up whenever I started the new thing. We'll get the sponsor banners up in a moment. But before we get started, it is National Superhero Day. It was that or National Denim Day. And, well, let's just face it, I'm not wearing denim when it's 75 degrees outside. So, National Superhero Day. The question is, boys, what superhero are you most like and why? Let's go, Maddie. What do you got first?
Oh, if you talk to my football kids, they would probably tell you something like the Incredible Hulk, because when I get upset, it's just I go on tirades with the football kids. So, I know I do it. I try to at least keep the profanity out of it, but I do. No, I do. I try to. I try to be the coach that does keep the profanity out of it, because I've got plenty that don't. But yeah, probably the Incredible Hulk, just from the anger standpoint. You won't like him when he's angry.
I was just going to say the same thing. You won't like me when I'm angry. All right, Mac, who do you got?
Who most resembles me? Or I'm a big Thor guy, to be honest. I'm a big Thor guy. It's so funny when we talk about like superheroes. You always go right, or at least for me, I always go right to Marvel, because DC sucks. Superman is the most overrated, ridiculous, stupid thing I've ever heard. But and if my buddy was here, he could really poo-poo on Superman all day. But and it's a long list of stuff. Like, Superman must have did something to this guy, because he hates Superman with a complete passion. But I'm a big Thor guy.
Huh. That's interesting.
Thunder, lightning, and dropping the hammer.
Interesting. Because, well, as for me, I'm a Superman guy all day.
Oh.
And the streaming Superman is here, and that's who I most identify with. Darren Miller, a fan of the show, the only person I know that is a bigger Superman fan than myself. Listen, I get it. He's got all the superpowers. He gets. What was the direct quote there? He's doo-doo. What was that? What was the thing you called super poo-poo?
Poo-poo. Yeah.
Yeah, he's Superman's the guy, though. I mean, here's the thing. I don't like that everybody's trying to bring Superman down, but that's what happens when you're on top, when you're the best. People just keep trying to chop you down. There's one thing that beats Superman, and it's kryptonite. So unless you can find my kryptonite, and good luck doing that, you're not bringing me down. So I'm a Superman guy through and through, have been since I was little. Loved the Superman movies, loved the Superman cartoons, and one of the few guys to enjoy Superman Returns to an extent. Then it got really bad. Man of Steel, though, is my favorite. I'm a huge fan of the Man of Steel movie. So it's
Those
National
are
Super.
The recent ones, right? The Man of Steel.
Those are the recent ones. Those are the Superman versus Batman.
I'm cool with those.
Yeah,
I didn't like the Batman versus Superman. Didn't like that one at all.
No, I was not a fan either. I will never understand how a nerd will ever beat Superman.
Ben Affleck killed that for me.
Best Batman of all time?
Superman.
Was it Christian Bale?
I would say the movie. Keaton was great, though.
Yes, he was.
Keaton was good.
I was a big Keaton guy. But those were, I didn't necessarily like the movies, but I got to be honest.
I love the movies.
The
Christian Bale ones.
The Christian Bale ones were awesome, but the Keaton ones threw me off because they were.
So, I mean, imagine doing it in today's world where you have all this technology and gadgets, and it'd be a lot better.
Look at Andrew Fowlett calling me the Superman. I love it. My assumption was Hulk for coach. There you go. So nailed that one. Your girls are your kryptonite. That's true. It's in many different capacities. The girls are my kryptonite.
You could also say they are your strength. So.
Oh, they're always my strength. All three of them. And I'm sure whenever we talked about superheroes, my wife's rolling her eyes. Oh, here's his chance to talk about Superman. Kryptonite. No, he's not my kryptonite. He's more like the Lex Luthor.
There you go. Perfect.
This might be fun. What superhero reminds you most of Jeff Bezos?
From a looks perspective or from
just overall
looks perspective? You remember the dude from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with like the brain in him? That's who he reminds me of. Like if you not Shredder. There was in the comic or the cartoon. Krang! Bang! There it is.
Yeah.
Okay, now I do remember.
Yes, that's Betos. he's just a robot with some kind of weird being inside of him that runs the, or like, what was the little mice, Pinky in the Brain? Like,
Yeah.
Jeff would be Pinky. They're not really
Always the
superheroes.
always the sidekick.
No, it's just a noff. I mean, what about you guys?
I was gonna go with somebody like obscure, like Aquaman or something.
Can you imagine? Did you guys watch what's the Big Bang Theory?
Yeah.
Where they busted in and they're like, no, dude, no one wants to be Aquaman.
Yeah.
See, to me, it's got to be Captain America because
Jeff Bezos is Captain America?
I can see it.
The dude loves America. No, only but to him.
The only way
That's all, I wouldn't say his personality. I wouldn't say all the things that Captain America does. I'm just saying the dude loves Captain America, like America, just as much as Captain America.
and the only way I'm agreeing with you is everybody would look at Jeff and say, "That's America's ass." That's America's ass.
Jeff. I tried.
He's
Jeff.
exactly what foreigners picture when they think of America.
Well, they just picture us as an ass, and they're like,
Right.
"There he is, there he is. There's America's ass right there." What about? I mean, what other superheroes does YSN people or personalities remind you of? Richie would be my Captain America.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I
by
can
the
see
rules, by everything is
Yeah.
nailed it down.
Richie would absolutely be. I would be Captain America. Everything's proper and.
Is there an Iron Man?
Brian's got to be Iron Man, right? With all the technology and everything.
Yeah, I would say that. That's probably a good comparison. Always making sure that we're up and running.
Yeah.
Who else do we have there? I mean,
Oh, we got to do Poe.
Who's the Green Lantern? Because
he's. Wait,
There's our Aquaman.
What was the? Oh man, I can't remember. I'm having such a brain fart today.
Can I say who Jeff should be?
Yeah.
Deadpool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's like always. Some days you love Jeff, some days you can't stand him, some days you love. He's like that anti-hero type of.
And you can shoot him and get away with it.
Yes.
He says something stupid. All right, buddy.
And you never know what he's going to say, and never know what's going to come out of his mouth there.
Is there a Wolverine among us? I would say.
We'll leave that.
I would
leave
say
that-
you.
leave that one alone.
Anthony Romo reminds me a lot of a Wolverine, because the claws can
hair.
come out, and he can get you with some good one-liners. But he's very, very quiet unless he's on the microphone.
We can use Quinn as Ant-Man.
Was there a tractor that just drove by?
Yeah, did you hear that?
Yeah.
They opened the door. Anthony was leaving. He's on his way to the Pirates game tonight with his mom, and I don't know what drove by, but it sounded like a Mack truck. So there you have it. All right, guys, we want to talk about the draft today. Obviously, with the draft being tomorrow, and breaking news, as we've reported before, the second annual draft party will take place right here on YSN Live, on our Twitch, on our YouTube, on our Facebook, and on our Twitter, also on ysnlive.com. So if you're looking to have some real takes, not some baked take from the mothership, if you're looking for some real takes on how we feel about the draft as it goes along, and of course until we get to the 24th and 26th pick, we will we'll keep it real for you. There's
What time does that start?
Draft starts at 8. I think we're going to go live at about 7:55, just get a countdown going, and just talk to the people. I love these nights, number one, because for my money, we have the best just fans in and they shoot us straight. And now that we've got StreamYard, now that we've got the capabilities of everybody chiming in, McNuggies is going to be that much more popular because he hit it on the head for 3 rounds last year. Just absolutely killed it. And people were impressed. So he's our Mel Kiper. He's our guy that he's going to let people know where this guy's supposed to go. Is this a reach? Is this a bad situation for a team? Is this something that they shock the world? or is this something to be expected? So I'm excited for that. The rest of us are just, I mean, let's be honest, we're just secondary. We're just here to watch the Browns and the Steelers pick, wherever they pick. Anthony's going to join us for the Chiefs take. So it's going to be interesting. One of my favorite nights of the year. This will be our second annual draft party, so please join us. I mean, it's something that you can have on the background while you're actually watching the draft. We'll have the ticker up and going and updated, and we're trying to work on some other technology to have going while we assess and break down the draft and how we think it's going. Because, like, I've heard it for 2 weeks in the back room, and like I've got half a mind to invite Poe to be part of this because he's already taking, and we'll talk about this guy in a little bit, the tackle from Oregon that didn't play last year. He's already comparing him to Joe Thomas. That's a 13, 14-year Pro Bowler. Like, how do you do that? That's like comparing people to.
This is why I always say I love and hate drafts at any level or any sport. They just immediately jump to, this guy's comparable to LeBron James. This guy's comparable to Michael Jordan. This guy's comparable to Mike Trout. This guy's
Typically, you don't see that though anymore. They've kind of scaled it back. Like
they've tried to.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see people compared to Jerry Rice anymore. You see him compared to T.Y. Hilton. You know, like, and I like that. Right. That's a little bit more, okay, I'll take a bite of that apple. But, like, when they're comparing him to Tom Brady, okay, how do you compare to somebody to a 6th-round draft pick? Like, I get where Tom Brady is now. But, like, nobody thought anything of him. And we've heard this story before, right. I think. But, like, how do you do that? How do you sit there with a grin on your face and sleep in bed at night and say, that guy's Tom Brady? No. You're drafting him in the 1st round. He's not Tom Brady. If you draft him in the 6th round, he goes on to win 7 Super Bowls. Okay.
And what I hate about it is you're putting unneeded pressure on some of these kids by comparing them to, Pro Bowlers or Hall of Famers. Like, let's just quit doing that.
I agree on one hand. On the other,
it's an entertaining thing. That's why
you're not kid anymore. Whenever you're about to get paid millions of dollars.
No, I agree. But seriously, I mean, you get some kid coming out of college and you're going to call him Tom Brady coming out of college. The expectations for fan bases, we wonder why some of these guys fizzle out so fast. It has a lot to do with their ability, but the expectations of the fan bases.
Josh Allen, the next John Elway. You know what I mean? That's it's very. And the thing is I tell Poe all the time, dude, you hated Josh Allen for 2.5 years. You hated him through half the season this year. He had to prove himself. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I mean, he's in my top 10, hands down. But you're going to blast the guy.
Honestly, one of the things we should do for next year, it's too late for this year, and I'd be happy to facilitate, we should have all of our personalities put out their mock drafts. It'd be fun just to kind of look at them.
Mine would be so bad. Like, and I know I'm thinking about me, but some of them would be so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, we tried to do this with records in football, and we're definitely going to do it again this year because it was hilarious. But, like, Scotty Quinn and myself put together, like, this is where we think everybody's going to finish. Scotty had everybody at 9-7 or 7-9, like, the entire league. Like, it wasn't mathematically possible to have it. Here we go. Every small quarterback is Drew Brees. That's a perfect example. Russell Wilson. It's that. So let's get to kind of where we think we're going to go with this from a draft standpoint. Mock draft, I'm pulling up, and I'll cite it because that's what you do when you have facts and other people do the work for you. This is courtesy of the ESPN.com. This is the 2021 NFL Mock Draft. NFL Nation making the decisions on these. So, of course, the first-round draft pick, the first overall draft pick is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars, brand new coach, Urban Meyer. And they are projecting that Trevor Lawrence is the quarterback. Is there any scenario where Trevor Lawrence isn't the number 1 overall pick?
I don't think so.
Came out of college just to take this pick and this quarterback.
Well, and the other thing is, this might be one of the most NFL-ready quarterbacks that we've seen in a lot of years come through.
Probably since Andrew Luck.
Oh, yeah, the next Tom Brady.
No, I wasn't going to put him in there. But he is very, very capable as a quarterback. He's got the build that you want to see. He's got the arm strength that you want to see. And in today's NFL, he's just mobile enough to be able to do some things.
I'd like him to get a haircut. You think
I'd
he's
love
gonna?
for him to get
Do you think there's
haircut and
gonna be
nose
a?
job.
You think there's gonna be a nose job? Come on, man.
That's schnoz, man.
I'd love for him to show up. I don't think he's going to the draft, but I would love for him to show up with a haircut. You know what I mean? Just kind of a.
No chance.
I know there's not, because he's made a branding off of the long hair. Okay, so then we're all the only way I can see this happening, and this would be the crazy stuff that only happens on draft night, and we've seen it start already here today. If the Jaguars get such a huge haul with a quarterback that they just go, you know what, we can't pass this up. You know,
I don't even know if that's possible. I think
4 first-rounders and a quarterback.
it would depend on who the quarterback was.
At this point, I would take Teddy Bridgewater and 4 first-rounders for Trevor Lawrence.
And it would depend on how far back they would have to move.
But I don't think Urban Meyer came out of retirement to not take.
But it's so deep there. You know what I mean? Like, if you drop to 10, you're still probably going to end up with one of the top 5 quarterbacks. It might not be the one you're in love with, but I think you're in a win-win from that situation. I would love to see it because I want the world to burn on draft night. I live for that stuff.
I have a scenario for you that you'll be excited about when we get to the team.
Oh dear God.
That could cause mayhem.
I think I know.
I've got a couple in here too.
All right, Jets at number 2. They are picking Zach Wilson, or at least it's projected. I think this is a lock as well. The Jets are in love with him. They got rid of Sam Darnold. You got to take a quarterback, and if you can't get Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson's your guy. The intrigue would be, are the Jets willing to give up X amount of draft picks to go get Trevor Lawrence? And I don't think that's the case.
No, and so the conversation came out today, and there were rumors kind of floating around on Twitter that I think it was Atlanta, or it was somebody in like the 4, 5, 6 range that had been in contact with New York and wanted to know, hey, if we trade to 3 with San Francisco, or before that when it was Houston from Miami,
yep.
If we trade to 3, could we get Zach Wilson? And all reports are that their GM said absolutely not. It's who we're taking.
Yeah. And I mean, he's been in New York reportedly the same way that Trevor Lawrence has been donating to Jacksonville charities already. I think those 2 are the biggest locks there are. Unless something crazy happens, and if you're a GM, you got to be. I mean, you're Jacksonville. Like, you can take some risks here. Yeah. You might lose the quarterback of your dreams, but it's one guy.
You definitely have to sit and think about it. That's for sure. You can't just say no. Like right away, you got to go, oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so San Francisco, this is where things start to get interesting. They have them projected in taking Mac Jones from Alabama. I don't think he's a 3 quarterback in the draft. I think they have a lot more opportunities to get to. And if you're the 49ers, this might be a trade down opportunity for you to really start stacking because, listen, injuries killed them last year. They are 2 years removed from a Super Bowl. 2 years. Mm-hmm. So they're not that far away from getting back there. And quite honestly, they still have Jimmy G. So taking a quarterback this high when you got somebody under the payroll that is your highest paid player, I believe, probably not the brightest move.
I don't think so. I think Kittle's their highest paid player.
Is he?
I think he is, yeah. I think so.
I would say top 3.
He's definitely
you're right.
For sure.
You're right.
So when you look at that, is Mac Jones a lock here?
So the longer that things go on and the more people talk about this, the more I keep hearing Mac Jones. But I don't think you give up that much draft capital to go up and get a kid in Mac Jones that has a really low ceiling. His floor is really high because he is pro ready and pro style ready, but his ceiling's just not nearly as high as Trey Lance or Justin Fields. And so I think that if you gave up that much draft capital, you're coming up for one of those 2 guys.
Mac?
All right, so this is so interesting to me because the 49ers are in like the best spot in the entire draft because it's not too often where you're the 3rd or 4th pick and you know exactly who somebody's taking in front of you, right? So you're basically the first pick in the draft, right? And they moved up. They did give up a little bit to get to this spot, which immediately said they're taking Trey Lance. And Trey Lance came off of that impressive pro day that very day. and it was like an hour or two, or maybe even the middle of that, they decided to go whoop. They went and trade. Now, what's interesting is, again, I know you're not a Colin Cowherd guy, but he stated some facts that were interesting to me. Is the 49ers do not leak anything ever. It's always hush hush who they're drafting, who they're picking, what trades and free agents that they're coming in. So now all of a sudden, there's news out of San Francisco that they're picking Mac Jones. I think this is draft BS, and I don't think this has anything to do with Mac Jones. I'm leaning towards Lance, right? But I started thinking of this the other day. How awesome would it be if the 49ers said, we're going to hammer down on Jimmy G, we're going to keep him there, and we're going to take the tight end, the arguable tight end that's come out, and you're going to have Kittle and Pitts. And they want to run the football. That's the 49ers' MO. So now they got 2 tight ends, which is basically a 4 wide receiver set, but they can run an ace backfield. And now, oh my God, play action. That's what they do. So now they got Kittle. Who's guarding Kittle? Now who's going to guard this kid who's probably the best prospect they said since Kellen Winslow Jr. came out of college? That's a problem. This could be a huge, we all know his issues, but that's prospects, okay? We all get it. But
he saw the gun getting loaded. He saw it.
I get it, his issues. But just on the field stuff, he's one of the best prospects since at least then. And I think this could be a huge problem. And I think it could really spark that offense that's been struggling. Well, I don't know if it'll happen, but it could be something that would blow up everybody's draft board.
It's a really interesting thought, too, because Kyle Shanahan typically does like to go to that 12 personnel package where you've got one back with 2 tight ends. But I think they're not all the way sold on Jimmy G, and I foresee them taking Trey Lance, understanding that it's a developmental process with him and you're going to spend a year, maybe 2 years getting him ready to go. And they're going to try and turn around and flip Jimmy G for something in this year's draft.
If they were going to flip him, he would have been gone already.
He's got more.
They have come out and said, and for whatever reason, this was months ago, that Jimmy G will be the quarterback of this year's team.
So why take?
They have to say that.
They don't have to.
They do. Because
let's just take them at their word, though. Let's just take them at their word. They said that is going to be.
Where is that dog coming from?
My neighbors are out in their backyard, and I'm trying to get the window open because I'm an all-electric house, so I don't have any air conditioning. I'm just trying to get a little bit of airflow. And for some reason, they decided that today was the best day to landscape their backyard. And their dog's out, and then there's a chain link fence and 3 other dogs in another backyard. This window's getting closed very soon.
Another thing on Mac Jones, though, I don't like quarterbacks who have crazy amount of talent on the outside in college football. And Alabama for the last 3, 4, 5 years have had some of the best wideouts ever. I mean, you go back to it reminds me of where I messed up with Johnny Manziel was he had a stud at wide receiver, making him look good all day, every day. I'm not sitting here saying Mac Jones isn't a good quarterback, and he might be a really good NFL quarterback. But we've noticed in the past that quarterbacks who have a lot of weapons in college and have big numbers and look the part, when they don't have those type of weapons, and normally they go to bad teams with that needs that are everywhere, like the Bengals or like the Jaguars, where you just don't have players around you, it's hard to produce the NFL.
I like this because the 49ers, I'm with you. I think the 49ers mess up everybody's draft board by taking Kyle Pitts. Because what's there to lose for them? They get a top-end tight end. So, okay, you got one great, I would argue, tight end already on your roster. Then you add Kyle Pitts. And, okay, so you don't get a quarterback, but your quarterback is going to benefit from this. He's a pro-style quarterback. He's been in the league. You know he can get it done, but you're like you said, a play-action team. This benefits in every way Jimmy Garoppolo because, listen, I got to be honest with you. I don't think right out of the jump that either one of those 2 quarterbacks, Trey Lance or Mac Jones, are starting over Jimmy Garoppolo anytime soon. And I could be completely wrong, but I think that there's still not that much of a opportunity that Garoppolo's had with a full squad around him to shine.
keep in mind, the reason that I say that Garoppolo's got more tradability and there's more value for him the later that the draft goes on is because there are so many quarterback needy teams this year and so many teams that could potentially take a quarterback. I've even heard rumors that we could see a reunion between Garoppolo and New England.
I mean, yeah, that's been out there for a long time, but I don't see it. I don't see it. I know there's a pretty good cap hit. It's not like what Big Ben's was where we talked about that 41 or whatever, but it's a pretty good sized cap hit. I think they're up against it. I think they're starting to see that their window right now, and like most teams, are really small. So you have to go in right now. And I think if the San Francisco 49ers want to go get somebody that can help them immediately, I think it's Pitts. Because he's so versatile in the run game, he can line up in tight end. He can also play outside. He's 6'5", 6'6". And he can run like the wind. So
here's the additive, and I'm gonna let you have this one, Billy, because who you got picking behind you? The Falcons at 4, the Bengals at 5, Dolphins at 6, Lions at 7, the Panthers at 8, and the Broncos,
the quarterback slides,
and then Dallas, and then you got the Giants. And then you have the Eagles. So, I mean, you do that, whoever picks third, if a quarterback doesn't go at 3, you could drop potentially all the way to
Philly.
14?
12.
Well, I got 14. Philly could take a quarterback, but they drafted Hurts last year.
Second round, though. And they don't have him there.
Yeah, I think it's more of a second round, and it depends on what Nick Sirianni thinks of Hurts.
Well, and I mean, the Vikings are paying Kirk Cousins a king's ransom.
Oh, yeah.
Then you go to New England at 15. So you can have Trey Lance still there, Mac Jones could still be there, and Justin Fields.
I mean, it's crazy because that other network that's just whatever tried to sit here and say 5 quarterbacks are going to go with the first 5 picks because they had to say that the Falcons were going to trade away their pick. And I'm like, there's no way. There's no way. There's too much value for some of these guys here. That's kind of what, teams take best player available. Where is Pitts on the radar on the board for San Francisco above a need of maybe a quarterback that's not going to play this year? It's not often you're in the top 3 to 5 picks, especially for an organization like the 49ers.
What is it? What do they say? The top 10 picks are expected to start?
Yeah, day one starters.
Like, why would you invest that much money into a first-round draft pick?
And it's a lot of money for the first 5 picks.
And know they're not going to be your starter. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, it's all about dollars and cents. And if you haven't learned that by now in the NFL or professional sports, but it's a business, you're not going to let somebody sit that's going to get $5 million a year or whatever that number is. I just pulled that out of thin air. You're not going to let that happen, especially with the salary cap dropping a little bit this year, correct?
Yeah, it came down just a little bit, but everybody knows it's going to go nuts next year. But ever since the Stafford deal and when they changed it around so that you were capped on how much you could pay these guys based on where they were draft slotted, it did kind of change the game.
I think that was Bradford. I think that was Bradford from Oklahoma. He was the last quarterback, first pick.
I couldn't remember who the last one was that got all the money. I always remember Stafford because his was like $31 million a year.
Who do you think the Falcons take at 4?
I think they trade away.
You think they're trading down?
I think they're trading down.
So they're Pitts or bust.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they're Pitts because now you're hearing rumors of them trying to trade away Julio Jones right now. So
that's all due to
the worst kind of way. And I feel like, and I think that's what they're looking for is to drop back to like anywhere from 10 to like 14 to get the corner that they want.
So the trying to trade Julio Jones away thing is based on the fact that they're in cap nightmares right now. They're just in such a bad spot. So they are actually looking to try and trade away Julio Jones. They've basically come out and said that the market's open on him. And I think that's another one that's a big name player that we could see moved on draft night.
You're going to like this one because I think if that happens, they're going to trade with the guys right below him, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
Because then the Bengals don't need to draft Jamar Chase. They can go draft a tackle, which is a heavy offensive lineman draft here. It's very deep. that you can protect your franchise quarterback to, I think, is one of the better quarterbacks in the entire league.
I think if they're trading for Julio Jones, Atlanta's going to want that pick.
I don't think they're going to get a number one for Julio Jones. I don't. Because I know that the leverage is out.
End. Maybe a bottom end first round, not top end.
So if it were set the other way, if it was Bengals then Falcons, I could see a deal getting facilitated that was Julio Jones and a swap of first rounders to change that position. But I don't think he's going to get included in that deal. Everything that I'm hearing right now is that it's basically a number two. It's a number two pick for Julio Jones, and it's either the Ravens or it's the New England Patriots.
Ew.
Well, the Patriots are in every trade talk right now. If you say a name and, the Patriots are in on them right now.
Tom Brady.
And it's based on what they did in free agency. So I think that they're going to have a really active draft, which is, not typical for Bill Belichick. Usually he just kind of trades back and stays put.
And that's exactly the reason why I'm like, don't even talk to me about what the Patriots are going to do, because that's one team is you have no idea. And history shows they're more likely to trade back and trade back and trade back.
They'll have 38 sixth-round draft picks.
Yes.
That's what they do. They do a lot of homework from like round 2 to round 5.
This is interesting.
B-Mac's got to be talking Cincinnati there, and I agree with him. It's one of those two.
Chase or Pitts?
Even though it should be Sewell.
Your franchise guy just had surgery because he got sacked a whole bunch. If you didn't learn anything from Andrew Luck playing in the league, you better go out there and you better protect your guy.
So here's the thing, though. Because this is such a deep offensive line class, I think that this could be potentially the year that we see offensive linemen slide a little bit, because the guys are going to start going, we can get good quality late in the first round or early in the second round. So we'll just wait, and we might see that cause offensive linemen to slide down the board.
Steelers general manager Kevin Colbert had a great quote the other day that really got me thinking. He said, if we trade down 5 picks, there has to be 5 guys that we're comfortable taking for us to make that move.
Yeah.
So you think about that. If the Bengals slide down, or they're telling you that they've got 5 guys, if they slide down five slots, they're telling you that there's 5 guys that they're okay taking, or they think they can still get their guy 5 picks later. I don't think this happens with Pitts. I don't think it happens with Chase, and I sure as hell don't think it happens with the big dude from Oregon that's Sewell. So it's going to be interesting, because where are the Bengals going to go? They need this pick. They need to get this right. I don't think that Chase is the right guy.
No, I think the only issue with Chase White comes up is because Burrow lobbied for him. That's
sure.
And AJ Green's out. Other than that, I think they're sold on the tackle from Washington.
Why aren't they in on the talk with Julio Jones? That's my question. Like, if there's an all-pro receiver out there that still has a ton of tread on the tires and hasn't been utilized the way he's supposed, go get him. Give them a second rounder next year. Give them the second rounder this year. So then you can.
Here's why.
Boom, done.
Burrow threw the ball well last year.
Best quarterback on target.
He moved the chains. He did that. If you're looking at just statistics wise, like, you're looking at a rookie quarterback coming in with not a big threat. AJ Green wasn't AJ Green of old. Okay, he was just an average guy, but I think he was ranked like 131 or something like that. Pro Football Focus, out of the receivers in the NFL last year. So you're looking at average core guys, some young guys in there. Higgins is going to be a guy for them. They just drafted Higgins a year or two ago, so they think that maybe that's a guy. Why would you go out and spend, even if it's a second rounder, why would you go get a guy when Burrow did all those things? Protect your quarterback. That's the pick. That's got to be as lock of a pick as it is the first pick and the second pick in the draft this year.
But it's not sexy to draft a tackle. That's the thing. And the Bengals, the Bengals aren't there yet.
The Browns for years were always missing picks because it was sexy. Let's go get this guy. Let's get this guy. Last year we had a boring draft. All of them for the most part hit.
And I'm
cool with that.
I'll never forget the draft after draft day came out, and every Browns fan wanted that to be
the movie.
Yeah, I was like, jeez, like, let it go. Like, just because, listen, I was that kid whenever I watched Angels in the outfield, I'm looking for an Angels hat, right? I think every Browns fan bought into that whole Kevin Costner bit. They were waiting for the cameo of if you build it, they will come.
I don't want to be the team that won the draft. I want to be the team that everybody just forgot what happened. That's where.
Well, you're going to get your first taste of it because it gets pretty boring down in the 20s. It's not sexy when you get down past the 15th round or 15th overall draft pick. It's mucky muck.
I'm cool with that. It's weird this year because it's in Cleveland, so everybody expects Cleveland to do something because it's, you're right in front of your fans, which I said a couple weeks ago, trade the pick out. Trade it out and get us another first rounder for next year because that's where you're going to start come up against the wall with cap stuff. So you're going to have some young faces coming in there, but there is almost no chance that
they're going to do something. I still think that that the Clowney pickup was the biggest noise that they're going to make all offseason. I really do.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the Dolphins pick at 6 here. They're saying Devontae Smith, the receiver from Alabama. You like this pick?
Not if Chase is still on the board.
Yeah, it depends on who's still on the board. And the way that we've got it going so far, I would much rather see Chase there.
Okay. Lions at 7. We're going to speed this up a little bit because we're already in the second half hour of the show. That's where we see Sewell going, the offensive tackle from Oregon. Lions seemingly getting it right here.
I think so. I have this pick as Jalen Waddle.
Okay.
I think that he's going to end up going there.
Wow, they've got him at 11 to the Giants.
Yeah. And it's a little bit of a reach, but it's not a huge reach.
Interesting. Because the Lions have a big draft coming up. Is it this year or next year?
Same. I'm sorry?
Is the Lions, they got all the picks back for Stafford, right?
Next year.
Next year, okay. Yeah, I'm interested to protect Jared Goff. And that's investing a lot into a quarterback you didn't necessarily even want a couple months ago. So we'll see. I like it. If he's there, I think he's someone you can build a team around. At least get a quarterback that feels somewhat safe. So we'll see how it goes.
You also got a new advisor there with Detroit, so that's going to help. It's a football guy, an Ohio State guy. Oh my God, I can't remember his name. Spielman, yes. Thank you, God. Spielman came in. He's a grinder, so he's gonna. That might be one of his moves. Like, hey, you guys have been drafting wide receivers for years. We're gonna go with the guys up front now.
So now we go to 8, where the Panthers are making a big trade, getting rid of Teddy Bridgewater to the Denver Broncos in return for a 6th-round draft pick. It has them going Farley. I don't know if this is updated since they did that.
So this is where I think the draft gets even more interesting. And it's because Ian Rappaport has a report out right now that says he has confirmation that Carolina and New England are in talks to swap first-round draft picks. And if New England comes up here, it's got to be for a quarterback. And that could be Justin Fields or Trey Lance.
Ew.
I know, right? It makes you feel dirty.
I don't like either of those two in New England.
Cam hasn't worked out well.
I think Mac Jones would go here.
And I think that's
sense
the plan.
Because
if he's
of his relationship with
Saban.
Alabama with Saban and the network there that they have, I think that's more of a Mac Jones pick than it is a super mobile quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think Fields or Trey Lance fit that offense in New England. They do, however, fit it in Carolina. So Carolina has, especially if it goes the way we think it's going to go, as we've talked about already, I think there's an ability to have some leverage on draft night that is going to be really interesting.
So I like Carolina moving. I like Carolina moving down, though, because they've got a bunch of needs, and I think that they can get some good draft capital here to be able to do even more and fill even more holes.
Well, if they get Gilmore with it, that fills one immediate need.
Yep.
So I think.
You think Gilmore's going to be a part of that trade? I don't think not.
Yeah. He's
a nice get, and he's a top corner in the NFL, top 5 guy.
To jump, what is it? 7 spots up in the draft?
From 15 to, yeah.
Yeah, I think that Gilmore's part of that. And they might get like a 4th round in return for it, but I don't think it.
It would also have to include at least the number 2.
Ty says, activate an insurance policy and send Cam back. We don't want him. Probably would
I
want
didn't know
him.
Ty was a New England guy.
Yeah, he's a big New England guy. All right, to 9 we go. Denver Broncos says they're going to draft Trey Lance. Probably not now. I don't see them making that move and drafting a quarterback in round 1. You do.
I do. Yeah. Yeah, I do.
And you still got Drew Lock. Don't forget about.
Yeah. Done. He's done. If they, I think they're going to put Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the guy to earn their spot this year, and then they're going to draft their future right here. I do.
Oh,
I don't
like
think
that.
they're just out of it just because they got. I don't think Teddy Bridgewater is more of a bridge quarterback, so I don't think he's a guy that's going to be there for the next 5-6 years. I think they're going to go if Trey Lance, especially, or even if Justin Fields is here, if one of those 2 quarterbacks is here. They will go ahead and take one of those 2 guys. If Mac Jones is here, I don't see them drafting a quarterback here.
I think
sorry, go ahead.
I think there's a team that's going to make some noise here, and I think it's going to be New Orleans. I think they are at some point they are going to move up. They're going to shock everybody. Move up the draft board.
They don't have any cap space still, so they can't even afford a top 10 draft spot because
they certainly can. They just have to make some moves, and I think that's where the trade comes into effect.
To Cleveland. Trade Lattimore to Cleveland. You can
Lattimore doesn't have the value that he had before the arrest.
Cool. We'll take him for a 2nd round pick.
I hate you sometimes.
You're getting greedy, Mac.
It's funny. He talks about McNuggies all the time, but he acts just like him. Like it's like McNuggy sees his future in Billy Mack because every free agent out there is going to be a Cleveland Brown, and anybody that's traded is a Cleveland.
I want him.
Everybody except for Richard Sherman. Let's just.
I want Richard Sherman.
Yeah, that's why.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we need to put the disclaimer: Mac is not a role model.
All right, let's go to the Dallas Cowboys. J.C. Horn, the cornerback from South Carolina. That's where the ESPN has them. Has the Cowboys taking? I never heard of this guy.
I've got Patrick Surtain.
It's the son of the Horn for the
Joe Horn.
Joe Horn. It's his son.
Okay, so he doesn't have hands like his dad apparently because he's a corner. So
yeah. What do you call a wide receiver
from Alabama here?
Pass.
With this pick.
Oh, you take Surtain.
That's who I've got as well.
Okay. Interesting because Jalen Waddle is going next to the Giants, they say. I don't think you can have too many wide receivers if you're down in Dallas.
The Giants need defensive line help, so I've got Quiddy Payne there.
Okay.
The defensive end from Michigan, from that team up north.
I'm cool with that pick.
The Page report says JC is good. I wish the Browns could. Oh my gosh, here we are good. Again. Every mock I see has Dallas taken Surtain. Chris Williams. Chris, great to hear from you, as always.
Yeah, I mean, JC is good, and I don't think, and he's got that pedigree, the NFL pedigree, so that goes a long way. I just like Surtain a little bit better. He's been the number 1 graded corner in the last 2 years in NCAA, so he's earned that right. He's a big guy, 6'1.5", 6'2", so I like him. And he went to in the SEC, so
they got Surtain going to 12 at the Eagles spot. I think the Eagles could do with some corners. Their defense was suspect.
Pick goes to Horn for me. This is where Horn gets picked up.
So you just okay, I can see that.
You flip flop.
Chargers at 13, Los Angeles Chargers at 13. Rashawn Slater, the offensive tackle from Northwestern. This is a guy that's getting some love and climbing the draft charts.
He's not who I have there though.
Who do you
I've got the Slim Reaper. I've got Devontae Smith there.
Okay.
No chance.
Yep.
No chance he goes here. They are loaded at wide receivers in San Diego. They have no problem with pass catchers. Protect your guy.
Can't have enough.
Who's the guard? The guard that's in this draft. That's who I like here, not the tackle. Maybe he got pushed back.
He must have got pushed back. I've got tackle, defensive end.
Anyway,
Tucker.
Line.
Farrah Tucker.
Offensive line, anywhere here, I'm good with. Not wide receiver. You got Mike Williams on the end. Oh, they're loaded. The only thing they lost was Hunter. That was it, a tight end. If Pitts for some ridiculous reason drops.
Oh, Hunter Henry.
Yeah. They
So
lost Hunter Henry.
don't forget though that Mike Williams is a free agent after next year, and most places are projecting that he's going to leave.
Again, protect your young quarterback. Go get an offense. Coach!
Oh, hey, trust me, if I was making the pick, but all I'm saying is based on the information that I've gathered, and I am a little bit of a draft nerd, the more I hear, the more it makes sense that Devontae Smith's going to end up
nowhere.
there. I don't have reliable sources. I don't have reliable sources.
Listen, if we're being honest, and Coach could actually go out and draft people and have he'd have 54 offensive linemen, and he'd have guys like the hefty lefty throwing quarterback style. It'd be unbelievable. But just because he knows that if he stinks one game, he can put him at left tackle and just replace him. So we know your style.
I like those interchangeable parts. I mean, I used a guard as a quarterback last year. So.
You are the Clit Hurdle of football. Just because they played center field in Little League does not mean that they're a center fielder in the major leagues. All right, let's get to pick number 14 with the Minnesota Vikings. They have an offensive tackle, Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech, going here. You like the Vikings going offensive line?
I do, yeah. I think that they need help on the offensive line, so I think the offensive line makes a lot of sense there.
So I peeked ahead here a little bit. I think this is a spot that gets traded out for it, especially if Justin Fields is still sitting here on the table. And let's just say maybe the Raiders jump up, maybe Washington jumps up to go ahead and get somebody here. Maybe the Bears try to get back in. Maybe the Bears are going, oh, God, there's a quarterback still out there. And they jump up here right in front of the New England Patriots to steal Justin Fields.
Ooh, okay. Speaking of Justin Fields, he's projected to go number 15 to the Patriots. I don't like it. I just don't like it. I think the Patriots, if they wanted a mobile quarterback, they would have rolled the dice on Dwayne Haskins.
No.
I think they would have. I really do, because he's got a stronger or an arm as strong as Justin Fields, and he's got a NFL-ready body.
He's got a bigger frame, that's for sure.
I wouldn't consider Haskins a mobile quarterback, though.
No.
He's more mobile than Tom Brady or Ben Roethlisberger, so let's just put it that way.
Sure, but they also have Cam Newton still. So, I mean, there's your mobile quarterback right there.
But that's what I'm saying. It hasn't worked out for him. That's
why
I don't think that Justin
that's
Fields
got a lot more to do with the fact that Cam is at the end here. Cam got so beat up while he was in Carolina that it's not even funny. I mean, they were running him like it was something ridiculous. He was being run once every 4 downs.
I don't remember if Mac Jones got picked here or not, or if we picked him yet, because I haven't been writing any of this down. But if Mac Jones is on the table, this is a Mac Jones pick all day.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think if Mac Jones and Justin Fields are there, even if Trey Lance is there, I think Mac Jones is the pick right here, because he is the perfect, ideal quarterback for the New England Patriots and how they won in the past. So I think that's how they win in the future.
Right.
Cardinals at 16, Greg Newsome the second, a cornerback from Northwestern. You like this?
I do. Yep. Yeah, I think that's the pick there too.
Yeah,
add the Buda Baker and Isaiah Simmons in the backfield. I like that. I think that's a smart pick.
Well, and the truth is,
the guy that's been there forever. So
it's the NFL. You can't have enough quality cornerbacks.
Right.
All right, here we go. Las Vegas Raiders at 17. Micah Parsons, the Penn State linebacker. Raiders need help on defense, and I think this helps them out at least a little bit.
I think they may have a chance at going offensive tackle here, though.
Shocker.
Mm-hmm.
No, I really do, because they do need help there.
They need help everywhere.
Listen, they have no pass rush since they traded away the whatever. You get it.
Khalil
Fill
Mack.
in the blank. Yeah. Since they got rid of Mack, this is a guy that can come in and he's not as good. He's not as good as Mack. I mean, none are, but this is something that they need. They need a pass rusher, so he's going to be.
They took a flyer last year on Trent Brown at offensive tackle, and it didn't pan out nearly the way they had hoped it would. So that's the only reason I said.
What you said earlier, linemen are dropping.
They are. They are
pushing back. So
Chris says,
in or second round.
Chris says Parsons is a stud, but some character issues. Raiders make sense. I like that. At 18, it looks like the Dolphins, with their second pick of the draft, are going to go with the linebacker from Georgia, Ojulari. Do you like them going linebacker at 18? It seems pretty high for a team that is looking to protect their quarterback.
I like them going defense, period, here, because I think that there's quality defensive players that are still available at this spot, and they need help on defense. I think that the right couple of picks here, we could see the Dolphins catapult themselves into real contenders.
The Dolphins are 25-1 last time I checked to win the Super Bowl. So keep that in mind. That is above the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New England Patriots. So all you Steelers and Patriot fans, tie. The Dolphins, before the draft, are projected over top of those two teams. Washington football team at 19, they're saying Jeremiah Owusu-Karamoah, the linebacker from Notre Dame. Notre Dame typically doesn't show up well in the first round. Do you like this for Washington, or is it just Washington being Washington?
I honestly, with Washington, throw a dart, and whatever it lands on, that's probably who they're going to pick. You could just literally put all the names on the wall and blindfold yourself and throw darts.
Team can't pick a name, but they're expected to pick at number 19. So
Right.
it tells you everything you need to know. Billy?
Right.
I mean, I would much prefer an offensive line here at this juncture. They don't even have a quarterback. So
Dropped a juncture on us. I love it. Sounded like a GM. Bears at 20. Tevin Jenkins, Oklahoma State, offensive tackle. Bears need a lot of help in a lot of different places. Do they start in the offensive line?
See, I think this is where Minnesota picks. I think this is if Justin Fields falls, I think the Bears go hard after Justin Fields with that 14th pick, and then I would say I'm cool with this pick being for the Minnesota Vikings, an offensive tackle.
Okay.
All right, I'm ready to take my beating again here. I think that this could be a spot for Darisaw, the offensive lineman from Virginia Tech, and I'm going to agree with Chris Williams on that.
How about this one? Yeah, let's pop that up for Chris so he's got some legitimacy when this thing happens. Indianapolis Colts 20-1 to win the Super Bowl in 2021. They pick at 21, and they are projected to take Pay, the defensive end from Michigan. What the hell happened to the Colts? Why are they projected 20-1 to win the Super Bowl? With with a quarterback that's more fragile than Fiestaware. Hashtag Fiestaware.
Not a sponsor yet.
Not a sponsor yet. What do you like with the Colts here?
I really like Wentz a lot. I've been on record saying that I like Wentz a lot. I think that helps them, and this is a good pick for them. Go get a pass rusher. Go.
I like Justin Fields right here.
I think this is another spot where we could potentially
There's
see a trade.
no chance. They're paying Wentz too much money to
I like
draft a
Justin
quarterback
Fields
here.
right here. It is not guaranteed money. Remind yourself, it's not guaranteed money because of all his injuries. So I would be interested to see they pick Fields here. I think Fields is a perfect addition to this. Didn't he do all the damage in the Lucas Oil Stadium?
Oh yeah,
He did.
I mean, that's his house. That's the house that Justin Fields built. I think that they can do it.
I just want Justin Fields to go off the board before we get to 24, because the closer we get to 24, the sicker I get to my stomach and the more nightmares I have.
Listen, I think if the Steelers had to pick between Fields and Trey Lance, they're taking Trey Lance. He's a cold weather quarterback. He's a big frame. And I know people have already said, and we're going to talk about this here in a moment, hopefully, Justin Fields, he's a big frame. He is, but he's already got worn off on his tires. And the Steelers are not going to go. I don't think they're going to go out on Justin Fields.
I will go on record and say that if they stay put, there's no way in hell Trey Lance gets there. I think somebody's coming up to get him.
Okay. Titans picking a 22. Elijah Moore, the receiver from Ole Miss. Do you like the Titans going receiver? I feel like they're already filled up at receiver.
They are, and I don't like
They
that.
lost one of their wideouts this year. Maybe it was Corey Davis. They lost one of their number one wideouts. They're 1 and 1A guys. So maybe they go here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lance in a dome and I get that Trey Lance was in a dome in Fargo, but you still have to live there. It's one of those scenarios. Like, he's not going to be afraid of Pittsburgh weather, like a Jimmy Garoppolo. New York Jets at 23 via Seattle. They're going to go guard here. This is the one you liked, Billy, earlier. Elijah Vera Tucker, the guard from USC. You like the Jets? If they're going to go and get a first-round quarterback at number 2, you like them going offensive line here to try to double down on protecting them?
Absolutely, all day. I mean, whoever, as long as it says guard, tackle, center, anything that says offensive line here is a good pick.
Coach?
Yeah, I agree with Billy. However, it's the Jets. They're going to go Najee Harris. They're going to pick up the running back from Alabama because they're not going to let him get one pick deeper to the Steelers.
I hope you're right. As much as I love Najee Harris, at number 24, the Pittsburgh Steelers picking Najee Harris makes 0 sense.
You're right.
0 sense.
No, because they desperately need more help on the offensive line.
Yeah, you lose your all-pro center, you lose an all-pro tackle. You're just
it seems
patching
like a panic
holes.
move, really. It seems like a panic move. Like, hey, if we just get a good running back in here, all of our problems are fixed, and we all know that's not true. You got to get that front.
Jerome Bettis,
up there,
Jerome Bettis, who everybody considers one of the best backs in Pittsburgh history, would have been nothing had he not had an offensive lineman. The Super Bowl 40 would have never happened without a great offensive line.
There's been one running back who didn't need a line. His name was Barry Sanders. Okay, that's it.
He quit because he didn't have a line. He quit because he was tired of.
But he was still great. He did. You're absolutely correct.
Offensive line here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Is there anybody that really fits the mold?
I think it's Creed Humphrey, the center.
I don't think they're going center here. I think center's too deep. I can see them making a stupid move like this, though, to appease the fans and be like, told you so. We had James Conner.
Yeah. The 20s, though, that's kind of a center area in the 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep hearing Landon Dickerson. I'm not in love with it.
Back in the day, I think that's where we picked up Alex Mack, and that panned out really well until we had to trade him.
He had a cameo in draft day, by the way.
He did.
Jacksonville Jaguars via the Rams at 25. They get Christian Barmore from Alabama. I like this a lot. They need some help defensively. They need some push on the D-line, and I think they're going to get it here. And you know what? Coach Meyer is going to start building his team the way he recruits, and it's up front. He gets his quarterback. Now you got to protect him, and now you got to penetrate to hurt the other guys. And I think Barmore here makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, the only other name that makes sense to me here is Elijah Vera Tucker, the offensive tackle from USC.
The guard?
I think he's a tackle. I think he played guard, but they're projecting him to play tackle.
Okay, that's who the Jets were supposed to take at 23. They have him listed as a guard, so I don't know. He's probably offensive linemen now have to be versatile.
Yeah.
All right.
How this is shipping out for the Browns right now.
I was just going to say, here's 26. The Cleveland Browns, they have him taking Jalen Phillips from Miami. I'm guessing you guys don't like that considering Jadeveon Clowney was just picked up.
No.
Yeah, I don't think that's updated. I think that we're going to see – honestly, I think it's going to end up being a cornerback here.
Do you any names? Because I'm going to put a name up there. Caleb Farley from Virginia Tech.
Caleb Farley is the one I think that makes the most sense there if they stay at 26.
Is a top 15, 17 pick, but because of a little bit of back issues, he just tested positive yesterday for COVID, so he's not going to attend any of the draft stuff this week. But Caleb Farley is going to be the guy.
All right, 27.
And I would love it unless we get Lattimore. Lattimore comes over.
Oh, for the love of God. Will you shut up about Lattimore?
Can I please? Okay, so 26, trade down. I'm happy.
Oh, I've already said that. I would be completely cool. Because I think you could get Farley in the second round because of his back issues.
Yep.
Can I be honest? I think the Steelers should take Farley right there.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
But I also will go out on record and say, and go out on a limb and say that every good defensive back the Steelers have ruined by not letting them be a good defensive back, but by trying to get them to cater to their system.
Yeah.
I say cornerback or linebacker from Notre Dame if he lasts. Okay. For the Browns.
I'm not drafting no linebacker in the first round, period, ever.
Yeah, Devin Bush seemed to be all right before he got hurt last year.
Yeah, but I'm just not going to do it.
All right, Baltimore going with Trayvon Moehrig from TCU, the safety. Okay, who cares?
I could see them going wide receiver there, possibly.
Well, if they don't get a receiver in trade, they probably should go receiver.
They should.
Stephon Gilmore coming to the Browns, Billy. Okay.
Although, who needs a receiver when you got a running back playing quarterback?
I got to be honest. New England's too smart to trade to Cleveland at this point.
No, Belichick won't do business with Cleveland. That's been on record. Stop it. Relax.
Here we go. Saints linebacker. They're going to go Jamin Davis from Kentucky. I don't think so.
They have to address the quarterback situation.
No, they like their two quarterbacks though, man.
I know they do, but
Winston and he loves out
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill loves him. I don't know why. You and I don't know why. Nobody knows why, but they do. And he just paid him a whole bunch of money. Not a whole bunch of guarantee, but they paid him a whole bunch of money.
They won games with Taysom Hill.
I think we got to get Chris on. If Chris isn't on our draft party tomorrow night, that he at least has to watch it so he can contribute because he's got some intel.
He does.
Seems to be a draft junkie. A huge fan, by the way, of YSN, as most of these folks are that are on the chat box, which is not sponsored yet, Matt.
Working on it.
Green Bay Packers at 29, picking Rashad Bateman, the wide receiver from Minnesota.
Come on, they don't draft wide receivers over there in Green Bay. There's no chance.
Not in the first round.
No chance. They've never drafted an offensive weapon for Aaron Rodgers since he's been there. Now all of a sudden they're going to draft him a wide receiver. Zero chance.
This is the spot where I could see them trying to replace Corey Linsley.
Yes. And Brandon McPherson, no. Kyle Trask will be in the second round, but I believe I heard rumors that the Steelers are stuck on Kyle Trask right now. Stuck.
They're not the only ones either.
And in the second round, the Steelers have been known to make moves.
Because Tampa Bay has come out and said they like him too, and that could be a 32 pick.
It's interesting because I heard we still have two quarterbacks still on the board in our mock draft here. Excuse me, Buffalo Bills, Gregory Rousseau, the defensive end from Miami. It's a Bills pick. I don't know that any Miami pick would ever work out in Buffalo. I just don't.
No.
Warm temperature guys typically don't work out well in cities like Buffalo. Baltimore Ravens at 31 via Kansas City. Terrence Marshall Jr., the wide receiver from LSU. This makes a little bit more sense for the Ravens.
Yep. He's a good player.
Yeah.
And at 32, Tampa Bay Buccaneers finish out the first round taking Joe Tryon, the outside linebacker from Washington. At this point, it doesn't matter. They signed AB today. They've got like 22 starters coming back that I read about. Like, Tampa Bay is just going to be Tampa Bay. Do I think they'll repeat? I don't.
No.
I don't.
Another
I'm
name
putting
to watch there. As another name to potentially watch there. Alex Leatherwood, the offensive tackle from Alabama.
Green Bay gets a good receiver in trade.
You got to think best player available here, right? Or Tom talked to them and said, "This is the last hurrah." If he says that, this is the Florida quarterback right here.
The fact that he got hammered drunk after the last Super Bowl tells me all I need to know. Tom Brady is
you, but I'm just saying, and Tom is allowed to play until he's 65.
This is where he gets his goodbye tour. It's where he gets the rocking chair at every stadium he goes to.
Right.
He's I don't care how good his body is, how he says it is. The 17 game schedule, when they changed it over to 17 games, people are going to be like, "Oh, that's only one game." That's not good for quarterbacks like Tom Brady. It's just not.
No, especially not a 75-year-old quarterback.
Whoa. Take it easy. Have some respect for the GOAT, please. Thank you.
Hey, absolutely. GOAT, first ballot Hall of Famer. Put him in Canton right now. Waive the 5-year waiting period. But he's old.
He is, but still has Super Bowl caliber talent.
Sure does.
He showed it off. I mean, you couldn't have won that Super Bowl without 12. That is for sure. All right, we are already 7 minutes over. Let's get to the G. Berbick Farms What's Your Beef, brought to you by our friends over at G. Berbick Farms on New Buffalo Road in Columbiana. Visit them on the web at gberbickfarms.com. Coach, you got a good one? Max got a great one, and I don't have much of one. Let's go with Coach first.
I have a decent one. So mine's going to be a combined beef and filet, and it's that last night when I was getting ready to kind of wind down for the night, I flipped on the old TV set there, and Draft Day was on. So I was like, oh, cool. I'll watch Draft Day while I'm getting ready to go to bed. Immediately following Draft Day was Field of Dreams. So I'm running on very little sleep because I watched Draft Day and Field of Dreams back-to-back until about 3:20 in the morning last night.
And your eyes are a little puffy this morning. Any particular reason?
I teared up. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Not a man unless you tear up a Field of Dreams.
Absolutely.
Direct quote, DJ Yoakley, copyright 2021. Mac, go ahead.
I don't know why this keeps happening, but we've talked about it, and we've talked about it, and we've talked about it, but I don't understand why coaches throw pitchers over 100 pitches in general. Yeah, it's 125. All right, it's 125. You could pitch them. I don't know why coaches continue to do that. I watched a kid this week. I'm not going to mention the school or who it was or whatnot, but I watched a kid pitch on Friday, and then turn around and pitch on a couple of days rest. 240 pitches in a 4-day period is just too much. I mean, are you trying to just win a game? Because to me, as a coach's responsibility is to get your players into college as well. And as we know, the best skill to have as an athlete is availability. And when you pitch them like this consistently, they're not going to be available. And then you get bent out of shape because your kid can't pick up his damn arm. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. We've talked about how violent pitching is to your body, and it just seems that some coaches get it, some coaches don't, and unfortunately, this is why rules have to be in place, and shame on you. It's terrible.
Man, it's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
This is ridiculous.
I got a fillet. For the first time, I feel like forever, my fillet is the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's it. That's the fillet. One game over 500 for the first time in 2 years. They beat the best team in baseball last night. They play them again tonight at 6:35. I can't wait. The Pirates, the underachieving Pirates, my squad, is over 500. We didn't think that they would win 60 games this year, and here we are sitting at, and I don't care how long it lasts, Billy. You can sit there and poo-poo it all you want.
I'm not. Hey, I was with you on board saying that they were not going to lose that many games.
Let's go, the Buccos, baby.
Raise the Jolly Roger.
The Mets and the Boston game last night broke out into a Yankees suck chant, which was awesome.
Which you
you
already called out Jeff Bezos for, which you love doing.
That's
going to do it for our show today. Tomorrow, we will be on location, some of us, from the Berlin Lake Golf Club in North Benton. So we will be there, and we'll talk a little bit, probably talk a little bit more local sports tomorrow, seeing that we have the draft later on that night. But as long as the weather holds up, we will be there, and you can catch us there. You can catch all of us here from 3 to 4 right here on YSN. We'll see you next time and tomorrow on the YSN Power Hour. So long, everybody. Where's the flag?
Where's the flag? Get the flag.